it should be some kind of inspiration in a very wide field to get an understanding how light could be, for example, the fourth dimension of architecture, to think how you could interpret architecture in different ways with lighting, that there are many ways, either if you have a focused light or a very diffuse light or a combination of this, thinking in different scenarios from the morning to the evening, and thereby creating better quality to architecture and giving them some insights about how they could contribute to a very sustainable solution. So it's an awareness in addition for different technological developments which are on the market, to keep track of them, to understand how they have an effect on the actual lighting design in a city when you create a specific lighting in a building, and the effect vice versa there. And showing the combination of daylight and illumination. So very often the one engineer just maybe focuses on illumination, but then you forgot that architecturally starts with daylight in the beginning. And very often in the universities, students don't find so much time to get information about how you use daylight as an element to render architecture in a beautiful way, so that you could benefit in an interior space from this.
Hi everyone, I'm really excited today to interview Mr. Thomas, and we will be talking about lighting aspects in our architectural design and his work in research till date.
It's a book from an American architect. His name is Henry Plummer, and he observed daylight, and I really love a lot of his books. He has published several of them, and I like his book Masters of Light, where he describes a couple of architects like Alvar Aalto, Tadao Ando, and other great architects, and how they dealt with light. And he created wonderful images, taking the right moments where you would find grazing light on concrete walls, where you would have diffuse light of Japanese architects. So it really sharpens your mind for daylight. And he has a wonderful way of describing lighting. So just to read it, you get a very clear and vivid understanding on the various aspects of daylight. And this is why I like this book so much.
I see.
The building which is close by and is really remarkable is the Columba Museum by the Swiss architect Peter Zumthor. And he combined an old church, multiple old churches, because it's a very historical place. And you could find these different layers of history in there. And then he put on a museum with a very nice detailing of details from the wall to the ceiling to the floor. Very nice work on materials, leather curtains, the rails, when you walk, for example, working a lot with bricks, and wonderful arrangement of windows where you could take a look at the Cologne Cathedral, for example, and thereby it's a very nice combination of daylight and artificial lighting with a very sophisticated concept to integrate the lighting in the overall architecture. That's the reason why I like the Columba Museum very much and go there from time to time. And they have, in addition, very good exhibitions, very well curated exhibitions in this building.
I see.
So I would just recommend openness, looking around, following trends, and maybe not only in the pure field of architecture. Sometimes it could be looking to sports, where you would see a luminous basketball field. It turns into a dynamic stage due to projections, and you could transfer this concept to buildings, for example, to exhibition designs. Or you could look to the health sector today, where you see with the corona pandemics that there's symbolic illuminations of buildings, or there are concerts on balconies with flashing lights from neighbors. And there you could think, how do you create on a very basic levels, you connect people together and create a new event, raising awareness and saying gratitude, for example, to your neighbors and to your healthcare workers in the environment. So it's really being open, following trends, developments, discussions, TED Talks, and ArchDaily is a wonderful platform to keep track of all the aspects on an urban level and on material details there and software, for example, or book recommendations. It's just wonderful. I think very often lighting design is discussed just in quantities, not in the quality of light. So there are many regulations in the lighting world where you need to fulfill specific standards. For example, for office lighting, we're discussing 500 lux on the desktop for working. But we see those guidelines were written in a time where we worked on paper files, for example. Today we have luminous screens, and we can even switch off the lighting and could actually work with our luminous keyboard, have our vertical screen there. And so we nearly need to rethink this kind of way. And I think for the growing sustainability discussion, this is a really intense challenge to solve this, how we could work on more efficient lighting solutions for our current office environment, which has self-luminous screens and does not really need conventional desktop lighting, which such an amount of light there anymore. So this is something what I would like to discuss, and which I address very often in workshops and lectures. So one of my favorites when it comes to light art is James Turrell. He is a great person working on perception of light with a very sophisticated, slow-moving daylight, sometimes combining there with electrical lighting. Of course, his major piece is the Rodin Crater, an ongoing project, and I was fortunate to visit this one time with a student group and with a teacher from the Düsseldorf University, Eibelshäuser, with a student field trip, which was just incredible to see this space, his daylight openings, how he works with the sunset. So this is just a great person. Another one is Robert Wilson in theater, working magically with stage lighting. So this is just beautiful and really enjoy his place there. Or it could be thinking about movement and dance. The Netherlands Dance Theater is creating wonderful performances with excellent lighting design there as well. Lighting conferences, yes, there was recently one in the Netherlands, Professional Lighting Design Convention, and the American Lighting Association, ILD, they have their conferences called Enlighten Europe, Enlighten America. So they're at the moment canceled, but those conferences are really I'm looking for. Or the Media Architecture Biennale is something when it comes to media facades. So these are the kind of interesting conferences there. And in addition, there's some in Mexico there as well, South America, Australia, and Asia there as well. So, but these were just some main conferences. There are trends on different levels. The one is definitely technology, LED technology getting more efficient. The lifetime is very long. But it's not only the LED, it's how it's integrated into a network. And I think this is where you see the most intense developments, that you have software apps where you bring a lot of fixtures together which could talk to each other and at least sending data there, and you can communicate there a lot. And this makes it easier to install an existing building, new infrastructure, for example. The other one is, of course, the trend sustainability, to use daylight in a smart way. Very often we see skyscrapers which have so much glass out there, and people have problems with glare. The building is heating up with the sunlight, especially if you look to Middle East. There are a lot of glass sculptures, they just warm up, and the question is there something more sustainable from a holistic point of view? And it's the discussion about dark sky, avoiding light pollution there, especially for urban lighting, to concentrate the lighting where you actually need it. And we have today a very sophisticated system of automotive lighting, and thereby the former street lighting does not need to be so powerful very often. So these are opportunities where you could work on smarter solutions and reduce the overall light levels there. And another trend is, from a design point, things get smaller. Luminaires get smaller and they're very powerful. And this is an opportunity for architects, interior designers to integrate it into the architecture in very sophisticated ways. And so I think these are the main trends of technology, sustainability, and design and miniaturization.